Welcome back to the World Championship Series Europe Premier League, round of 16. We're into Group C. Two of our opening games are done and in the history books, and we have the upper bracket final we thought we might have. But before we get there, let's just check in with the bracket and show you where we're up to so far this evening. You've already missed our opening two matches, which saw both of the Europeans going down, unfortunately, and down to the lower bracket. And, of course, the two Koreans, the two ex-Slayers players, the two sons of boxers. No, sons of boxers. I don't know if you can do that plurally. I'm not even sure boxers are allowed to have two sons. Definitely one of them, MMA, going up against a former teammate and good friend in the upper bracket final, MMA. That's going to happen a little bit later on. We're going to focus firstly on the lower bracket, where these two players are fighting for their survival in this competition, Welmu and MaNa. I'm going to say this, as harsh as, and I hope Gregor's not listening right now, I expected MaNa to be in this position. I might not necessarily have expected Welmu, but what do we get now is a PvP. And we know that anything can happen now. Literally anything can happen.
Well, we saw Welmu already build a lot of his WCS success on actually doing very well in PvP in the past couple of seasons, with him being here. And then MaNa, likewise, you know, has had some good PvP in the past as well. So both of these going into this series, I think, certainly have a shot. I don't think it's like really weighted in favor of one or the other. Yeah, I mean,
in terms of the way that they match up against each other, there's nothing in it really. It's 7-4 right now in favour of Welmu in terms of maps, 4-2 over matches. They played plenty of matches between them.
Yeah.
6 in all. So can't really read too much of that. Plus, as you've rightly said, Welmu's PvP has actually been very, very good in the past. It's easily his best matchup statistically. It's always been his best matchup when he's been in WCS. And when he's been in trouble, it's the one that he kind of falls back to get himself out of that hole.
Yeah, and when it's come to the people that have put the road to an end for him when it comes to PvP in WCS, it's been the big hard-hitting Koreans that
Top
have done
Koreans,
it.
yeah.
So
people like San.
MCs, yeah, and
MC as well. Yeah, and in terms of MaNa, like we spoke a little bit earlier on about how he's, you know, it's been a long time. 689 days ago, in fact, he won the Electronic Sports World Cup. Yeah. It was the last time he won a Premier tournament back in 2012. Is it, I don't want to be mean to him again, but is it just the quality of the players coming to events has gone up since then? Or is it, you know, how would you assess his previous achievements in the context of today?
MaNa had this kind of recession period where, you know, he had such great results before, was contending for that top 4 on a spot, then had this kind of slump where he wasn't really doing too much. But it feels like the transition over to Team Liquid has kind of rekindled what he lost a little bit in that. Of course, it's not fully back to the form that he would previously had or would want now, but he's getting there. He's getting there, and I think, you know, he was also previously in the round of 16 as well as now. So
yep.
That's good steps for him to get back to where he was eventually. And 2015 could be completely different.
Yeah, could be a completely different kettle of fish. He has 4 appearances in the Premier League, up against the man who has 5 appearances in the Premier League. So pretty even. Joking around right now, and Welmu having removed Foxtrot, Catalina removed by the Liquidian in blue. And I'm guessing this is going a fairly similar way to most map vetoes. Deadwing will probably fall out of the way. And what do you think? Merry-go-round, Nimbus?
I mean, in PvP, mirror matchup, it doesn't really make a massive difference. Yep. It does depend on, I guess, like the size of the maps, if you're going to proxy something, if you're going to be a little bit cheeky yourself, as well as, you know, the ability to actually get over to your opponent's space quickly. 4-player maps cause a lot of volatility, more so than others, or 3-player maps as well, since we have a few of those in. So there you go, that's why those disappear.
Yeah,
it's a good reason.
Nimbus left in, so we might get that, I guess, maybe as the 3rd, but I don't know, might fancy a little bit of something funky. Yeah, okay, so let's do that first then, says Welmu. He quite likes Nimbus. I've watched him on a number of occasions. Actually, he played on the first time against Golden, of course, on Nimbus, and had that terrific win on the Swarm host. So he does like the old Nimbus quite a lot. Overgrowth 2nd, King Sejong will be the 3rd if we need it. A funky couple of guys, aren't they? Having some fun over there. They don't seem perturbed about the fact that they've dropped down and this is Last Chance Saloon, do they?
They're two of the smiliest Protoss I know, so maybe outside of Stardust, because Stardust never actually does anything other than smile. But
we're going to call him Smile Dust from now on.
It can go that way. It can go that way. But I think as this is going to play out, as much as, you know, they are very, very heavily, they're very well pitted against one another, I would still give a little bit of an edge to Welmu, even though MaNa had a very good series against Bling in the round of 32, which, if I recall, was pretty aggressive from MaNa.
I think all these games, when you watch the round of 32, were very funky, to say the least. They were either overly aggressive or a bit weird in some way, and... yeah, he definitely had a fun round of 32. His games against 4GG in particular were very different as well. I know it's obviously a different matchup right now, but when it comes down to it, we know PvP can be a little bit of a flip coin situation. Are you expecting the same for this one, or do you think they'll play a little bit more for the long game?
If Welmu has anything to say about it, I mean, Welmu, yes, can go for aggressive builds himself, but I feel that Welmu probably is better versed when it comes to the long game, so if he wants to push it longer, then that could go well. MaNa, meanwhile, is ever the aggressor, and we've already seen him like Blink a lot, even today in a different matchup, but we normally see quite a lot of that from him. Maybe he'll go down that route.
Do you think he has to in this game? I mean, we know that Welmu is very good mid to late game, so... Does MaNa approach this and think, do you know what? Maybe the best chance I have is for a little bit of cheese here, a little bit of fun early on. I'll
go out on a bit of a limb and say that maybe he does, because Welmu is able to hang with some of the best of them in the Europeans, and of course they have knocked him out, as we said before, in WCS Europe. But it's given him a lot of wealth of experience against these big, hard-hitting Protoss in later stages of Protoss versus Protoss that's helped him out.
Okay, first game assessments for both these players. Welmu, I think you could argue that the second game he probably should have lost, but the first game he probably should have won, so I guess that balances it out a little bit. What did you make of his macro and his micro in that first match?
Good overall.
Yeah.
I mean...
you didn't see anything sloppy? Didn't see anything that you thought maybe he'd done better in the past?
The thing is he kept making cool decisions to always keep harassing, always trying to keep Golden down. We're on about overgrowth here, right? Yeah. But in the end, I don't know, the small moments that he missed, which are very, very hard to pick up on, obviously, because you don't know if there is you're expecting there to be a hive back there. You're expecting extra Vipers to be in play as opposed to just one throughout the entire composition. So it's very hard to read into. Maybe the Oracle's revelation could have tried to hint onto that. It's like, wait, well, why is there only one Viper here for so long? But overall, you know, just a kick in the butt.
All right, final thoughts collected. Time for predictions. Which way is it going? Your fantasy team's doing all right now. Not as good as Apollo's.
Not as good as Apollo's.
If you haven't played, fantasy.eslgaming.com right now, and you can play. It's a bit too late to try and beat someone like Apollo, who is 7th right now on the list. And I think he might just be first after tonight.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. You're not quite as high as that, and I'm definitely not as high as that, but you've been pretty good with the predictions so far.
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah.
You said that I'd mentioned MaNa as my choice for this group. But
well, by default.
Yeah, because we all had to pick one person, apparently.
Well, no, it was just that, well, I'd gone with Welmu, Sean had already gone with Golden, and Hasselhoff said MMA, and I was like, well, that only leaves MaNa for
Don't tell him that I was left with MaNa.
Oh, well.
Anyway, so I picked MMA overall.
Yes.
A lot of people have picked MMA overall.
Yes. But in terms of this matchup, Welmu or MaNa?
I got to go with Welmu.
Okay, experience not counting in this one. We're thinking that the youngster might steal it away. Hard to imagine, though, that both of these players are just 20 years of age. How the hell did that happen to MaNa? He's been around forever. Time now for our deciding game in the lower bracket. One of these goes home. One of them advances on to play another Korean for the final place in Group C. Let's find out who it'll be with Hasselhoff and Apollo.
Thank you very much once again, Red Eye, and welcome to the commentary desk, where I'm joined by professional Protoss player Mouse Sports Hasselhoff, and you are going to break down this PvP. Excellent for us, aren't you?
I try my best.
I'm sure you will. This is going to be, and sadly, one of our Europeans getting knocked out from Group C here. One is going to be eliminated. One will get the chance to play the decider, which means they will go up against the loser of either MMA or Golden in our 5th game of the evening. But before we get into that, talk to us about your experience with these two players in their respective PvP departments.
Welmu has crazy PvP. I remember him as one of the most scariest European Protosses to play in PvP.
Yeah.
While MaNa, I think he has very, very good control. It's definitely something you need in PvP. But he's not as scary as Welmu to me. Whenever I played MaNa, I was like, okay, I can beat this guy. But when I played Welmu, I was like, oh, this is going to be so hard. And he always taught me a lesson, like how to play PvP. And actually, I copied a lot from him as well, overall. So, but we recently looked up his stats, and he looked a little bit weaker in his PvP the last...
Welmu, that is, yeah.
Welmu, the last 4 months or something. While MaNa always had solid PvP, very micro-based, I would say, with Blink Stalkers, Colossus, very good control, good time warps when needed. And yeah, that guy, he knows all the dirty tricks as well, by the way. Like 4-player maps, he scouts cross first, trying to mess you up with that. Things like that is something Welmu likes to do.
Better overall stats here for Welmu, better WCS rank, better percentage versus Protoss, and also the lead head-to-head over the years. 4 wins in favor of Welmu over MaNa, but recently they played in Who's the Best European tournament, where MaNa 2-0'd Welmu just 2 weeks ago. You think that will play a fact into a bit of this game, because they played so close?
It could be, but I wouldn't really overrate that in PvP. Every time, like, if we play today, I might beat you 2-0, and tomorrow you can beat me 2-0. Everything is possible. It's a lot about choosing the right build orders, having the right mindset in PvP, and not having a mental block against your opponent, I would say.
Well, who goes home, who gets an opportunity to fight against one of the Koreans in the decider game? Let's find out up here to the top left-hand side. Playing for Team Liquid, it's MaNa. Over the years was considered one of the best Protoss players in Europe, slightly off that mark nowadays, but down here a player who's definitely up there as one of the best Protoss players in Europe. In the blue, playing for Team Neurosoft, it's Welmu. Finland versus Poland.
Yeah, oftentimes you forget about Welmu when you talk about all the good players in Europe. Welmu is oftentimes not on the radar, playing for a not unknown team, but not really a big one either.
Yeah. Only really competes in WCS, doesn't really compete in that much else.
Yeah. But he's always a very, very dangerous player. So Nimbus is the first map, 4 players map, which can lead to a very weird game, like with 1 base, openings, stuff like that is definitely possible, because it's very hard to scout your opponent if you are unlucky. It's cross position, so unless Welmu sends the probe cross map first, they won't find each other on the first position. So it can be very hard to scout.
Which are some of the more common strategies then on Nimbus?
Everything is possible, I would say.
Okay.
Maybe not Blink so much, because I wouldn't really do that on Nimbus. I mean, you can even jump into the natural from the edge, but I don't think it's that strong, to be honest. But everything else definitely possible. Some kind of DT, some kind of 1-gate robo expand. Stargate is definitely a very solid option as well. So yeah, let's see. Let's see once the cyber core is done, because then we all know what we will see here.
Well, Welmu with a slightly earlier scout here. Looks like he should be able to get in. Well, he will get inside the main base and see what MaNa's up to. We'll see if MaNa can actually get inside or not. Should be able to make it just about, I think, but we'll see as it gets closer and closer. But because of the earlier scout here, Welmu is just a few seconds behind when it comes to his structures here compared to MaNa. Dedicating a couple of resources away from mining, of course, with the probe leaving earlier. And inside the probe goes.
Both have 3 probes on each gas. They were filling them up slowly. MaNa's getting a second gate.
Spotted immediately here by Welmu.
So will it change his decision to do anything? I would say no. Is he? Oh, never mind. I thought the probe would die. I was just hearing the noise. Like
unfortunately, that was Welmu's probe doing that. But MaNa also gets inside the main base. Sees a single gateway and the Stargate at the back there.
So Welmu didn't care of the Stargate being scouted, even though he saw 2 gateway. I mean, he will have 3 Stalkers in position to kill any Oracle, or at least chase it. And even some kind of pressure might be annoying for Welmu here, because he has to... Like, his Stalker will be much later than MaNa's.
And the probe now being targeted down.
He wants to confirm the Stargate. He wants to see it once more. Can he? Oh, I think he wasn't in range.
No, he didn't spot that there.
That's very annoying, because now you can't be 100% sure. Did the guy cancel it, or did he not do that? So That's very annoying for
Oh,
MaNa.
and Welmu's had a probe hidden inside the main base all this time, and actually has a quick look inside there. Sees Chronoboost in the gateway, doesn't see any other structure around the back there, where there are 2 pylons, bear in mind. So if it was going to be anywhere, it would have been there. And he pokes up, sees no natural, so he knows that a bit of pressure is on his way. And what is his return here? It's going to be the robotics facility, while the Oracle sneaks around here. Photon overcharge just about ready.
Can he
Almost.
sneak the Oracle out without the Stalker being like spotting the Oracle? Looks like it, yeah. But of course, MaNa will have the Mothership Core at home, just in case if the Oracle flies in. But then he has to use the overcharge very early on, and all the Stalkers are on the map, so it can be tricky afterwards to defend against the Oracle.
And he has chosen the faster expansion here. Welmu playing a little bit safe with the robotics facility coming in, but the Oracle's almost over there. It's across the halfway point now. Mothership Core is in position. He's got to be fast here when he triggers the Photon overcharge, otherwise probes will go down. But robotics facility as well for MaNa.
He's controlling his Stalkers right now, so maybe he will be a little bit late on the overcharge. We will see the
Here
Oracle
comes the Oracle. 1 probe, 2 probe. He's going to get a couple here. Just 2, but at the other side of the map, we did see a Stalker being picked off. I think 3 Stalkers versus 1. I think it did die. No, now it died. Now it died. And
Exactly.
Photon overcharge activated. Immortal on the way here, as well as the expansion. But a very close game, but the Oracle still being alive. It's going to be a big threat.
Can he chase down the Stalkers if the Immortal pops? I think MaNa has to run away. He shouldn't stay any longer. There's a sentry as well, so if the... he actually is greedy and tries to go for the sentry. Will he get the reward? Yes, he does. He will lose 1 Stalker in the process, though.
1 Stalker for 1 sentry.
The Oracle is still around. MaNa did get some Stalkers in his main base. He's adding a 3rd gateway. Should probably get the Observer very soon as well. But he's chrono boosting his probes. I like that.
1. Just 1 this time. Oh, no, just 1.
A little bit unlucky there.
Nope. Just 1, so 3 in total now for the Oracle. But the game moves on at a very similar rate. I mean, there's not a big difference between the 2 players now.
Yeah, that's true. Both have their Nexus up. Both are chrono boosting their Nexus. Welmu just started that. Slightly earlier Forge for Welmu, though, and that's something you always have to look out for in PvP. The upgrades, especially the attack upgrade, obviously, is very, very important. Obviously, both will continue to build a few Immortals, and then the question is, will they transition into the Robo Bay, or like just Charge Lord, High Templar, very quick 3rd, maybe a War Prison being mixed? There are lots of follow-up in PvP since Heart of the Swarm.
The Oracle's got 4 kills in total. No Immortals yet from MaNa. He's just about to finish it up with a pylon. Does he start one now? He's got a lot of gas in the bag, 600 gas here.
That's very interesting that not a single Immortal has been started. I think he wants, it's very late, but he starts one, while Welmu already has 2 done. Most likely will add a 3rd to the composition, I believe. They both have... No, actually, Welmu completely forget about building sentries here, so he doesn't have any kind of hallucination scout. Obviously, he has the Oracle to scout.
Just now 2 getting warped in.
Yeah, that's a little bit late, though. So,
but there's no super big difference between the both of them here, and that kind of means that there's no opportunities that either player could go for a win, of course, or an attack, which would suggest that this game, is going to go on for a while.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Given that it's cross-position as well, Immortals and Sentries, it takes a while to walk over the Mothership Core as well. The Oracle is hovering around, so MaNa doesn't really want to leave his base.
Right.
There's a pause. Both are getting the Twilight Council behind this, so they are setting up for the later stages of the game, getting +2, probably adding the 3rd Nexus very soon as well.
Yeah, just setting up. So we did see the intricacies of the early game there, the different types of openers kind of hitting up against each other, but nobody really came out massively ahead of the other, quite similar. As looks like Welmu is ready to continue on. Just a slight pause there, slight hiccup, but back into it immediately we are. How fast can you take a 3rd here? Can you take the 3rd off the back of what we have with 3 gateways apiece? Is it not too greedy to do that? What do you do in this position?
You can be greedy. I think in Welmu's position, though, you shouldn't do that because he doesn't have the full scout anymore because his sentries are so late, so he doesn't know, did my opponent already add the gateways or not? Because if you take the Nexus and your opponent already added the gateways, you might run the risk of dying to an attack. If it's the other, like if both get the gateways, it's fine, no one can die. But if someone tries to be greedy, it can be very risky, and both are adding the gateways right now.
And both have just picked up some massive scouts on each other as well. All the gateways have been added on for both sides, and both of them spotted it too. MaNa, Hallucinated Phoenix, and Welmu with the Oracle. And it looks like both are going to probably take that 3rd now, as Welmu's probe does go down. Faster +2 coming here for Welmu. He's also concentrating on that chrono boost on that forge. He's starting to pull away a little bit with that attack upgrade compared to MaNa. I know Welmu did have a slight advantage with the construction of that forge, but it wasn't that big. It's a good 60, 70 seconds ahead now.
Yeah, that's true. And he constantly, as you mentioned, is chrono boosting it. He's still chrono boosting it. Both are getting the Templar archives with their army composition, so no Robo Bay for now. MaNa did get a prism, if I'm not wrong.
No,
Yeah.
yes.
There's a prism with 2 immortals in there. I wanted to say interesting,
but is it good? Because
yes.
Welmu's played against, not Welmu, so MaNa's played against a player who's gone for a Stargate, so it's just a single Phoenix can stop this quite hard, surely.
Definitely, but he found out that there is no Phoenix on the map yet.
Yeah.
So I believe he will pick off like a pylon and maybe 2 probes,
And
so
then
3
back
probes,
off.
and then he backs off because he knows he will start a Phoenix.
Okay.
And the Warp Prism, to have it around is always good. And by the way,
Right.
Welmu, if we go into his vision, he has a very, very good vision of the map right now.
Yeah, and I think he spotted this movement out as well at the same time. 2 immortals at the front door here. And this is a big play for MaNa, actually, because when the Militia's coming down, he doesn't have that many units here, but if he was somehow able to find position on that third base while harassing with the immortals here, it would be huge. I mean, obviously, killing the third is massive.
Yeah, that's a very, very nice move by MaNa. Also good focus fire. He got like 5 probes, a pylon. He's warping in a lot of stuff in the middle of the map. But Welmu saw the army moving out, right? Okay.
Yeah, and he sees the pylon being built in the middle too here, so he's got to be very careful to balance this both up, not to lose his third here.
Losing the forward pylon, but he still has 2 more on the map. Probe is still alive. Welmu has a decent army, but the rocks are still there. It's very annoying to walk around there, as we can see. He tries to find a good position now.
It's going to be hard to break into this, I think. Both players so similar, and that's why actually Welmu's got a larger army current. And he does have that +2 advantage as well.
Not for long, though. It's only 10 seconds away for MaNa if he chrono boosts.
The economy is huge difference, though. 57 probes for MaNa, 44 for Welmu.
Yeah. Very long economy hold, and he obviously lost a few. A nice drop once again into the natural. MaNa's playing this beautifully.
Yeah, this is really good. Just holding position outside that third base while swinging in with the warp prism here. And that's a big warping as well. But Welmu's had enough. He actually moves forward here. And is MaNa ready to take this fight? He backs off. Both of them back off.
Almost the feedback on the Mothership Core. MaNa warped in a single High Templar to snipe the Mothership Core. The drop has been cleaned off, but no, actually he loaded it up. He will go on into the main base now. And he forces Welmu to go all in, I believe.
Welmu's just going for it here. This is all or nothing coming out from Welmu. He's down in supply. The supply advantages where the army is in favor of MaNa, and MaNa's all he's got to do is kind of set up defensively right now. And unfortunately, there's been a lot of probes killed in this game by that warp prism. Here is the final attack coming in. Time warp goes down.
Very early, though.
Is he going to be able to take a good fight? There's quite a few immortals in here for Welmu. And he is chasing this army down. Okay, here turns around the fight. And there is the photon overcharge, and the fight takes place. Is he going to be able to break through this? There's a lot of units, and of course, warpings coming in here from MaNa. And he pushes that back, and there's no meat at the front of that, apart from these Archons, who obviously don't want to lose their lives too fast in this engagement.
Yeah, MaNa sniped down the Warp Prism with his Archons in the Nexus during the fight, the photon overcharge. So Welmu basically had no straight reinforcements, only with his pylon. And given the amount of Archons and Zealots, I think MaNa will survive here.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to survive, and surviving is winning in this type of game, especially when you killed off so many probes, and Welmu's attack is not going to work. Good game is called, and MaNa goes up 1-0 here against the Finn.
That looked like a very, very solid PvP by MaNa. Taking the small opportunity with the Immortal drop into 4 Zealot drop, completely throwing Welmu off the game. Like, he had no defense at his natural twice, taking a huge amount of losses on his probes, and feeling the pressure on his third as well, like forcing him going into an all-in after that. So definitely small hiccups by him in the defense, even though he had such a good map control with all the pylons, the Oracle around and stuff like that.
So what was it that went wrong there for Welmu? Was it the way that he dealt with that specific scenario? Should he have dealt with it better? Should he have made a Phoenix as soon as he knew what was going on?
Definitely.
Should he have split his army up? What's some of the things that can be highlighted for him to do better in that kind of scenario?
Yeah, I think as you mentioned, he has to handle it way better. It's okay to lose, let's say, like 3 probes, maybe a pylon, or maybe some of the structures that is on the outskirt of your base. But he had the Stargate, and I guess he forgot about it, because making a Phoenix is pretty cheap. You chrono boost it once, it will pop out, you can chase down the War Prism, and then the second attack with the Zealot is not happening.
Yeah.
And especially the second attack with the Zealot was forcing him into a situation that he felt like, okay, I have to go now. Now or
never.
Yeah, now or never.
Yeah.
So it was definitely not defending very well against the War Prism,
and
costing him the game.
I mean, the difference of probe count between the both of them, MaNa just continuing to probe behind that attack as well. He didn't necessarily have the largest army at that point, but he had position, and he was throwing a lot of his money into furthering his economy. And, you know, Welmu had halted that and stopped and had got this army ready to attack, and then he couldn't attack.
Yeah.
Unfortunately there for Welmu, MaNa, very, very nice moves from the pole. But game number 2 is upon us. It is going to be Overgrowth. Will this be a 2-0? Or can Welmu fight back? Up here to the top right-hand side as the red Protoss player, currently leading 1-0, playing for Team Liquid. It's MaNa. A change of game quality from one series to the other, if we ignore the opponent. And then down here to the bottom left-hand side as the blue Protoss player needs to win this, or he will be eliminated in the round of 16 for the first time in a long time. It's Welmu. And Welmu hasn't lost in the round of 16 since Season 3 last year. He's had a clean first year in 2014. Season 1 and Season 2, top 8s.
Yeah, pretty good, or very solid performance overall by him in the WCS Europe. So on Overgrowth, none of the players is going for any kind of proxy gate so far, and we will see if they actually check for that in their main base. At least in the main base, you should check for that right after you pop the gateway. And MaNa is doing that, while Welmu is playing a little bit stubborn here, not doing that.
No.
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 And as a small reminder, the IEM Katowice, the grand finals, when CJ Hero was playing against SOS, he got proxy gated twice in a row. And on the third map, he still didn't scout, so it would have worked 3 times in a row. But yeah. Not this game though.
And his MaNa is taking proper scouting measures here. Checks inside the main in triple locations, and then of course swings around to the natural as well.
I like it, it's nice. Play it safe, you're ahead 1-0, you basically won the game from an even point. I mean, he was slightly ahead because of the earlier Nexus, but it wasn't anything big, and the upgrade was in favor of Welmu, so I'd say the game was very even, but the War Prism drop really turned his favor, and he was just winning the game from there on. So why not take it the same way this time? Scout for any kind of pylons or whatever is being hidden on the map. And the second gateway this time for Welmu. Could be a 3-gate. Let's see.
And Welmu once again, well not once again, sorry, but Welmu does have a 5-6 second advantage on that 5-minute score, if it means anything at all in this game, by not scouting again with that probe. Whereas MaNa did have that position previously. We see the Mothership core straight away here, but an extra chrono boost into the Nexus and another one into the Nexus here from MaNa too.
Yeah, so maybe we'll see 3-gate from Welmu. It has been scouted, so it shouldn't really work if he commits to that. But it could be a trickery as well, just showing the chrono boost on the warp gate, scaring your opponent, and then switch up completely, maybe dropping a Nexus or some kind of tech structure.
MaNa hanging around for as long as possible there. Stalker pops out there, and he's already gone. But MaNa's chosen 1-gate Twilight.
Is it DTs? It could be DTs, given what he saw. It's like, okay, if you commit to the 3-gate, I will have DT. I will survive at home long enough to get my DTs out, and you will die because you won't have a detection. Unless Welmu somehow has the feeling, okay, it's going to be DTs. I drop the robo anyways. Yeah. Like, I don't fully commit, but I drop the robo.
Nice micro there from MaNa hiding in the bush.
Yeah, does he get one?
Out.
Yeah, 3 damage.
Yep.
Hooray.
But a funny play from Welmu here, just doesn't matter what's going on, has chosen this from the get-go. Didn't scout, doesn't care. Probe moving up, which is a fantastic find here by the Mothership core.
Oh my god.
Fantastic find there, and the pylons drop very far away. He's going to have to pull another probe down there. Blink is the choice from MaNa. And how well is Welmu going to execute this? He's believing in himself, otherwise he wouldn't have just gone for this blindly and of course just in the open to what MaNa's seen.
And the Stargate as a follow-up. It's not quite a robo, but it provides you detection as well. But his pylon is so far away, and he didn't send out a second probe.
And all MaNa does need is time here, because that blink upgrade is everything in this game. He's got the photon overcharge available. He's even got a sentry popping up now as well. And if MaNa gets to blink, and obviously Welmu's units are on this side of the map in similar numbers, we all know that that's going to heavily favor MaNa. Stargate is on the way, though. Maybe if we can squeeze out an Oracle and try to squeeze it into the main base, try to do some damage that way.
Welmu will get a very good scout with his mothership core, though. While on the other hand, I think there's a probe moving into the main base of Welmu soon. He sees the Robo, he sees the Twilight Council, but he has to recall.
Oh, wow. That's obviously not going to aid his defense here, and I think that MaNa's probably going to do the old Classico, leave the mothership core at home in case of any follow-up, and then just go for it. His pylon's been spotted outside and will be cancelled, like Will's with a probe, and funny enough, I think we can call that a slight mistake there from MaNa. Just putting a little bit too overly eager, MaNa.
Like, pylon as a nexus, like right on the nexus spot.
You definitely could have had it a little bit further back, of course.
Yeah, behind the natural is usually where you want to place it, or maybe at the third.
So it is just going to be a nexus here.
That's a
MaNa.
good call. Yeah, it's a good call.
Yeah.
He made sure that Welmu has no nexus, and that Welmu can't scout him right now, because he's killing the Zealot in the top left, and he killed the Pylon. He doesn't know about the Oracle yet, but now he knows with the Pylon spread.
And
Beautiful
also,
play.
you know, with losing the mothership core as a Protoss player, you got to be like, oh my god, and MaNa's just expanding, which I think is, as you said, a good reaction here. Photon Overcharge at a good time, and only a single probe is killed today.
Yeah, once
again.
again.
He's getting ready for the catch here. MaNa, he's pulling the stops today.
But the Oracle sees it. He has Blink, of course. Oh, wow.
MaNa.
Oh, just think of being in Welmu's shoes right now. This is horrible. You lose your mothership core for free. You lose the Oracle for free. Your 3-gate did nothing at all.
Yeah.
I mean...
And this guy's got Blink to still go on and harass me a little bit from out of position. So not a good start here for Welmu. Not a good series for him.
Luckily for him, there's no Pylon nearby, because I think MaNa could actually turn on the pressure very hard here.
Funny you say that. He's sending out a probe, so I think he may realize he has a chance to do damage here.
It's a little bit late, though, because I think the second Immortal will be finished, and more importantly, the Nexus will be done. So he has the possibility of Photon Overcharge. Picks off the Sentry, though. Very nice.
MaNa is starting Immortal production. He's got no Forge, and we do see that there from Welmu.
But he has to survive, and that's his main priority. Move command there for a few seconds on Welmu's Stalkers.
There's the Pylon just outside this natural. And MaNa's been continuing on to blink his way to victory here, potentially. Another Stalker gets picked off. Photon Overcharge is ready, and there is going to be a second Immortal soon.
He has to, he's forcing him to use the Photon Overcharge. You don't really want to use that right now in the phase of the game, because you never know, there might be some kind of Warp Prism around and things like that.
Is MaNa going to commit to units here? Yes, he is. 2 sentries get walked in, going to start to cut these units up. And he blinks into the main base. Welmu did not expect it. He wasn't quite in position. He does turn around, though, and no damage was taken, luckily. Well, as I say that, he does bring a Stalker down to 25 hit points. And he's building units in the Immortal, and 2 other sentries coming down from there as well. Imagine if he gets a force field on the ramp, he blinks in, the army goes up, force field in the ramp.
Yeah, even 2 force fields right next to the Nexus will be able to block off the Immortals, and MaNa.
Careful, Welmu.
Press the all-army key. Everything is coming.
Welmu, you're out in the open, and 3 force fields come down, and the Immortal is trapped there, and a blink forward it will get picked off, which means 1 Immortal and 3 Stalkers, and Welmu. It looks like MaNa's in fantastic shape to take this series 2-0. He's going to go for it here. The Time Warp is available as well. He catches the second Immortal, and just like that. And MaNa, wow.
He made it look easy. Just like MMA in the games against MaNa. That was some very good PvP. He got a little bit lucky, but that's how it is in PvP, like trapping the probe with the mothership core. Obviously, Welmu didn't send out a second one, which really surprised me, because I think if you are on 3-gate with Chrono Boost on the Warp Gate, you have to commit a little bit more. Especially when your mothership core is out in the nowhere as well. Like, you're committed anyways. If the Oracle flies in, you lost the game.
Yeah. Very unfortunate series there for Welmu, who, finishes his year, strong, I think we can call it. 2 top 8 performances in Season 1 and Season 2, and of course around a 16 finish here in Season 3. And I'm sure we'll see him back next year to compete once again in the World Championship Series. But we are done with Welmu for this year in the WCS. He will be competing at DreamHack next week, or this weekend as well. So we'll see some more of him before the year finishes up. But it is Liquid MaNa who gets a chance to get potential revenge against MMA, gets a chance to play versus Golden, gets a chance to finally, maybe, go through to the round of 8 for the very first time. God damn it, Golden! What are you doing? Yeah, well done to MaNa. Very, very solid set of 2 games there from him. Let's hear some words.
Thank you very much, Sean. Yes, it's all right. MaNa's just winding me up off camera, as he's prone to do. Very happy, obviously, after that win. Just absolutely flawless play in both maps. And talk us through. Map 1, similar builds. Everything seemed to be fairly even. He was slightly up on upgrades, actually. But the drops, the double immortal drop was what really started to open up the map. What made you think about it? What made you do it?
Because he was looking very greedy. Like when I scouted with my Phoenix and hallucinated Phoenix, he had only like a Zealot and an Immortal, and he started to add up tech. I'm like, okay, he's going to cut corners. It's a good map for macro and so on, so I will do some harassment. He could prevent that, because if he makes 1 Phoenix from the Stargate, then it's completely neglected. But well, I saw an opportunity and took it.
Yeah, I mean, Hasselhoff said the same thing. He said 1 Phoenix, and it's all back to even again. Were you surprised?
Not much, because I killed a Sentry, I killed a Stalker in the beginning. The Oracle was kind of annoying, so he had to use a lot of gas to his tech and so on. So additional Phoenix, as much, I mean, it's only 100 gas, you can say, but it's time of the mining of the gas and time of the building of the Phoenix and so on. So it was just not worth it. He had to cut some corners to get back to the game after I had a pretty good opening.
Yeah, definitely, very good opening indeed. Second map, flawless. I mean, just everything that you wanted to go right went right. I mean, could it have gone any better?
I was expecting him to go for the frigate. I think he had frigates, so I defended that rather easily after sniping the probe, which was a little bit lucky. But I know the pathway of the probe. If he could, maybe he could go from the left side. That maybe he could run away, but he didn't. So it was good for me. I did not expect the Oracle though, but I had the Mothership Core. I know there's an opportunity for that, but well, I was not really expecting that. And then I saw he was going for a macro game, and I didn't really want to push it, but I kept on trading very well, and I sniped the Observer even so he had no vision whatsoever. So I'm like, all right, let's just force field him out and win. Yeah,
it was pretty much towards the end. You were just it looked even from the game mechanics, it was like, oh, all right then. Well, I'll go and win then if that's what you want to play. There was also a cheeky little pylon that you tried to put. That was very cheeky.
Yeah, that was for the potential Oracle scout.
Fantastic. I mean, brilliant play, great couple of games. What's the difference? I mean, obviously different race against MMA and totally different matchup and builds and what have you, but just mentality-wise, you seem much stronger recently.
You know, I've been practicing very efficiently. Maybe not a lot, but very efficiently. I've been thinking about my strategies and so on. And also the win in the tournament, who's the best European, which I'm not the best European. Don't worry. Maybe give me a lot of confidence and a lot of knowledge from the game, especially in the finals versus Lilbo, where we played a very good series and gave me a lot of knowledge. But versus MMA, I was practicing a lot versus Terrans. I was using the strategy that I was using versus MMA, but the Terrans were reacting very differently than MMA. So that's why it looked very convincing. And I just didn't know what to do. He was maneuvering around with his army very, very well. And it was just a brilliant game by MMA, and it's just all his good play that made me lose.
Well, good of you to say so. You've got a chance now at redemption in 2 different ways. You can either have MMA and have revenge from the first game, or you can have Golden for revenge for last season, because it was the same game.
Yeah, I much rather prefer Golden. I know my PvP is not that strong nowadays. I feel Terrans have learned a lot about the matchup, and it's much more difficult for me to play it. And especially it's MMA. He just won Jump Hack Moscow as well, so I much more prefer Golden. And a revenge for previous season would be nice.
Well, best of luck in that game. MaNa is safely through to our final game of the night. He doesn't know who's going to play yet, though, because the winner's game is coming up next. It's MMA versus Golden, coming right up after the break.